Welcome to Indiana Outdoor Adventures. I'm Troy McCormick, and joining me today is Brian Kennedy of Native Crossbows. Now, here in Indiana, it's only been since last year that they first allowed crossbow hunting throughout the entire archery season.
Correct.
For everybody.
Absolutely.
And like so many things, there's so many choices. You go to buy a new weapon and there's all kinds of name brands and there's all kinds of price ranges and products. And I was really excited to find an Indiana home-based crossbow manufacturer.
Sure.
Brian, tell us all just a little bit about Native Crossbows right here in Alexandria, Indiana.
Sure. We're a family of hunters, and what we've done is we've been in the automotive manufacturing for many years, and we wanted to find a product that we could offer and bring jobs back to Indiana. And the opportunity came up that we can make crossbows. We thought, what a great experience. That's something that we do. We love to hunt, we love to manufacture, and now we've got the Native Crossbow.
And you're all set up with your own machine shop.
Yes.
So coming up with design was the biggest hurdle. You had everything you needed to make it.
Sure. We had my father and another young man who helped come up with the designs and concept. We all sat down together, figured out what would best work. We put bows together, started testing, and that's how we've come up with the Native Crossbow. We've added a few features, and there we are.
You know, like everything, there's a beginning and an end, and we're real close to the beginning right here.
Absolutely.
Native Crossbows is fairly new to the market.
Yes.
You've got two models. You've got the Rampage and the Renegade.
Yes.
And we've got one's a 150-pound draw, one's a 175-pound draw. But you know what? I love this little profile. And I'll be honest, I've already shot one of these. Amazing accuracy. So I've got a little jump on where we're going with the story. But, you know, it's an exciting profile. And just tell me a little bit about some of these unique features.
Sure. Yeah. With our compact, what we want to do is create a crossbow for a hunter to get in. Also, we wanted to make it ergonomically correct so it fit the hunter. And when you're sitting in a tree stand or a ground blind, you made mention we have an 18.5-inch axle, very small axle, so you can get into your ground blind, you can move around, you can also be in your tree stand and you're not hitting limbs. The other features are that we've made it ergonomically correct, that when you balance this, our bow stays balanced for the hunters.
I mean, you know, there's something about my very first crossbow I built from a kit, I think when I was in high school. It had these limbs on it, were like this long,
Absolutely.
big wooden stock, and it clunked when you shot it.
Yeah.
You would never want to hunt with it, but that was my first entrance into the world of crossbows. A lot of hunters are joining the ranks of crossbow hunters. Now we've got this option of a horizontal bow during the archery season. So it's still new to us. You've got the feel of the rifle. You've got the thrill of archery hunting, but in this ergonomically well compact design. Yeah. Now, when we start looking at these, we've got on the limbs, there's a let-off like on most compound bows. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how does that work with the different ones?
On this compound, we'll have an 80% let-off. Once you get that broke over, it's 150 or 75-pound limb. And what will happen is when you pull that back, you'll pull on the 175 about 150 pounds, and on the 150 it's about 130 pounds.
And as you're pulling up, you put your foot down here.
Yes.
And you pull up with the cocker string,
yes.
And it clicks into place.
Yes.
And so you've got a little bit of a let off to help you when you get those last few inches.
The last few inches, the cams will actually break over, and you know you've broken that over, and it'll lock into the trigger mechanism.
Yeah. Now, this already comes scoped out.
Yes, sir.
We've got, and we do have some variety of scopes that come in your different packages.
Yes.
And one of the neatest things I like about the Rampage is the unique stock feature.
What we've done is with the breakdown stock, we want to give the hunter the ability, depending on their size, that gives them the ability to pull this back and not be encumbered by the butt of the stock.
So if you're up in a tree stand.
Absolutely. In a tree stand, it's a great safety feature. You'll see a lot of hunting videos where the hunter's already got the bow cocked. They're lifting it up, trying to bring it up the tree stand. What we're encouraging people to do is set in, get strapped in with your hunter safety gear, fold the stock down, cock the bow. That even works for in a ground blind. It's a tight ground blind, very tight quarters. You can break that stock down and still pull the bow and get it cocked and not interfere with your hunting experience.
Yeah, that's great. You know, we're always looking for a safe outdoor
Absolutely.
experience whenever we can find it. The limbs, we talked about those close confined spaces. Is this fairly unique, having the 18.5-inch limb or pulley to pulley?
On ours it is, and with the amount of kinetic force that we provide through the arrow and the speed at which the bow shoots in that small of a compact size. A lot of people can get higher speeds, but you get larger limbs and a longer pull length.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll get their speed, but it also is hard for a hunter to pull that back or to cock the bow. That's when they have to put cranks on or things of that nature. We've engineered it so they don't have to put those cranks on.
That's pretty cool. Now, I want to come back to that fact that this is a family-owned business.
Yes.
You're here in Alexandria, Indiana, and if you don't know where that is, it's just north of Anderson, or it's just west of Muncie, where I grew up and was raised, right here in the central part of Indiana.
Yeah.
Now, you're not just assembling these.
No. We actually machine this bow complete. We machine the risers, the barrels, the trigger system that we've patented is all machined here. We wanted to create an American-made bow. We've seen so many jobs leave, and what we're trying to do is bring product and companies back. One thing we learned in some of the automotive manufacturing is that having your vendors close to you, you can work together, solve problems. Also in the same time zone, you talk the same languages. It does have its advantages.
Sure.
So that's what we wanted to do, is bring back a fully American-made bow.
Welcome back to Indiana Outdoor Adventures. Joining me today is Brian Kennedy with Native Crossbows. And Brian, we're talking about these new crossbows that you have available for people, made right here in central Indiana.
What we wanted to do is build a bow for the hunter that can afford it. And we want to give it a competitive price. We feel we can compete with anyone else in the world. And we're giving them the best quality.
And when you start comparing features, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the anti-dry fire and the trigger.
Sure.
Because those are some very unique features that you've added to this.
Sure. What we've done is we wanted to give a safest made product out there. So when the hunter pulls the string back, the automatic safety kicks in. You can see that kick in. That is one feature that our bow has that others don't have. And the other feature is it is a full, true anti-dry fire. Without that arrow in, the string does not go forward. It actually,
go ahead, for someone who's not an archer, go ahead and explain a dry fire to them.
What a dry fire does is that if we put it into fire and pull the trigger without an arrow in, and some bows will allow that string to go forward, that then could bust your strings or break the limbs on your bow. It's a very dangerous situation that you've got to could pretty much explode it. Yeah, you're exploding the bow. So what the anti-dry fire does is that it has a mechanism in here that will detect whether there's not an arrow to stop it from firing.
Okay, so even if you have your bolt only halfway in for some odd reason,
it's not going to fire.
It will not fire if you pull that trigger,
right,
even in the cocked position.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice to know that the safety factor has been given so much thought, and it's not unique to Native, but the way you handle it is unique.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. And the trigger. Tell me about the trigger.
The trigger was patented by Dad. He actually, we sat down and said, hey, what are features on other bows that people don't have? And with our past experience of doing a lot of prototyping in the automotive industry, Dad said, hey, this is the project for me. We thought about concepts, we thought about what we were doing, and he designed that from scratch.
Wow.
Just going back to the machine, drawing up on a piece of paper. You know, most of us have to use the AutoCADs and the advanced technologies, and now this guy's back here whittling away at parts and
that's
making it, and comes up and says, "Here's your new trigger."
That's
You
4 decades of experience coming into play right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of designing parts, and
Exactly.
this is the kind of thing he does. Now, not
That's
only
the future.
are you working on quiet triggers, you're working on speed and accuracy.
Absolutely.
Tell me about the limbs, because the limbs start out as a solid piece.
Yes. What we felt was that the accuracy of this limb, we liken it to the automotive, or when buying steel. One end of a bar of steel may not quite be like the other end of the bar of steel. Well, if I married those two ends together, they may not react the same.
Makes sense.
When they're, but the way these limbs are made, by being one solid piece, the material in this side will be the same as the material in this side. So as we cut this and split this and redip it, we get homogeneous limbs.
They're matched up.
They're matched.
Because they're the one and the same.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see that. Now, the model that we're looking at here is the Rampage. This is the 340 feet per second
Yes, sir.
speed at 175 pound draw weight.
Right.
It's the upper end of the two, but there isn't really a whole lot of price difference between the two.
No.
The difference really comes into play in is if you want that 150 pound draw. So it's a little easier to pull back the strings to cock it, and it only drops to 320 feet per second. So it's still, both of them are very fast bows.
Very fast. And in the bow, we really need to talk, people talk speed, or they talk, but really we need to talk kinetic energy. The kinetic energy of what that arrow and the impact when it hits.
Right.
And the Rampage is delivering 108 pounds of kinetic energy. The Renegade is delivering 98 pounds of kinetic energy, which is plenty enough
Sure.
for the normal deer hunting or any type of hunting activities. Where other bows may shoot faster, they tend to maybe shoot a little lighter arrow. Well, the lighter arrow gives you more speed. We could shoot faster speeds with this by shooting a lighter arrow, but I then at that point don't have the kinetic force or energy carried through for the hunting experience. And that we want the kinetic energy.
And here I was afraid I'd never use physics.
Yeah, there you have
There
it.
you go. You make this available in just a black composite.
Yes.
Or in the camo. We're going to look at the dipping of the camo, but tell me a little bit about that process.
Sure. What it is, it's called a hydrographics liquid printing type process. There's multiple names for it, but what it does is prepare a plastic stock. That plastic's painted, and then it's dipped into a liquid bath with film, and that film then adheres to the plastic. We wash off any of the byproducts that are biodegradable, and then we put a hard coating on the bow, and that's what they consider a liquid transfer.
A liquid transfer of camo. And what's our camo pattern?
We are using a Prevail Reaper Buck pattern.
Well, we started out machining, and I worked at a lot of different tool shops.
Okay. Tool and die shops?
Tool and die.
Okay.
And we used to build special machines and just tooling, build a lot of tooling. I got into a lot of experience in the job shops. And
now, were you designing? And my father, Ron McCormick, was a draftsman and in a tool and die shop. And I remember growing up, and he drew blueprints. And back then you didn't have even calculators. Well, you had a slide rule you had to mess around with. It was all before CAD. But you were back in there in those early years, and as far as, were you working with design, or were you out on the floor working on the machines, or a little both?
I started out on the floor working with machines, and I run a boring mill. I've run different machines, and then I went into supervision. And just the experience that I got in the job shops. A lot of people don't understand you get all different kinds of equipment and stuff to look at. It just took about 50 years worth to get to the point that we are now. I've seen other crossbows, and you look down the barrel of them, and that barrel will have a dip in it.
Yeah.
This barrel's good and straight. It's great. It's got a Teflon finish on it after we hard anodize it. So those are just the small things that we've done you know, to make this bow shoot the way it shoots.
So it's not just a bow that's made in Indiana. It's a quality bow made in Indiana.
Quality bow made in Indiana. We make our own cams, and we just.
Why rely on someone else when you can make it right
That's
yourself, right?
And when we get done with it, every bow, we take it back, we shoot them, we make sure that everything's working right. You don't take this out of a box and start assembling it. You get this, it's got the scope and everything mounted, and it's been fired, and when that bow, you pull that bow up, you will shoot probably a 2-inch pattern.
When we had
30 yards.
When I was here last time,
Yeah.
we were out in the shop. Within 3 bolts, we were within a 2-inch grouping.
Yes.
And then we brought that right down
Yes.
within 2 more bolts.
Yeah, you bring it on in, and it's there, and it's just. I tell you, sometimes it amazes me how good it shoots. I'll be honest with you.
The idea that someone's going to move from making automotive parts to making a new hunting weapon, I'm kind of assuming that there was a little bit of hunting experience in the family. Do you like to hunt?
Oh, I love to hunt. Yeah, I can remember back when my brother and I first started deer hunting in Indiana, and we were talking about it the other day. You know, if you seen a deer, you was excited, and
your neighbors were excited, and your friends at work were excited.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we've really seen a lot go on, you know, and I still love to hunt and fish, and I enjoy it. So that's why over automotive, I enjoy this so much, because it is something that you can really do and say, we developed it.
And your son hunts, and your granddaughter hunts. And,
Yes.
But your granddaughter shoots a rather unique color of native crossbow.
Yeah, she is. She's got a pink one.
She's got not just pink, but pink camo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
is that something that you're offering now?
Yes, we're offering that, but that was my wife. Made sure we had
one for the girls. Well, the bow itself provides, like I say, at a time when crossbow hunting really is just getting kicked off here in Indiana. It's exciting to know that we've got another option on the market for the hunters to choose from. But I just find it extremely satisfying to know that so much of it is being made right here in central Indiana and assembled and sold right here.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you bringing those jobs to Indiana and providing such a nice product.
Thank you for being here.
Joining us today is Adam Vinatieri from the Indianapolis Colts. And Adam, I know that we're used to seeing you out on the football field, but I understand you like to be out in the woods a little bit too.
I do. My 3 passions in life are family, football, and hunting in the great outdoors. So, you know, hunting and football season kind of run at the same time. So on a good Tuesday afternoon when I've got some time off, I try to climb up in the tree and go chase some of these Indiana whitetails around. But yeah, I do. There's nothing better after the season's over than getting outside and kind of decompressing and getting back into Mother Nature and kind of just letting all the stress disappear and having a good time with my family. My dad, my brothers, they all hunt. I'm getting my kids into it a little bit now too, and they love it as much as I do. So it's been a great joy.
How old are the kids?
I got a 10, 8, and a 3-year-old, and the 3-year-old already thinks he's the great white hunter. So we'll see how that all pans out. But he loves going outside and screwing around with me.
There you go. I kind of like that. I started both my daughters at age 3 out doing some deer scouting before the season.
Sure.
And just bring them up in the woods. It's good values. It's good time together, and just something about that family time.
That's right.
Now, Adam, I know that getting out in the woods is a great experience, but you got to have the right tools. We've got a new weapon that the DNR in Indiana has allowed us to use last year when they allowed crossbows during the entire archery season by any archer.
Yeah, I think it was a good decision that they did that. It really helps with older hunters, maybe some people that have some physical issues that don't allow them to draw 70 pounds back or 40 or 50 pounds back for that matter. So it gives hunters more options. The fact that they allow it now throughout the entire archery season is a great decision too. And we've got a nice American-made, Indiana-made crossbow here now that's just awesome. I own one of these myself. I was introduced to it about a year ago from the owner, Brian Kennedy, and proof is in the pudding, as they say. I've shot it and love it. I think it's a great machine, and if you can't kill an Indiana deer with this, then you're doing something wrong, because it's a good shooting machine.
You know, I was really amazed because we took one that hadn't been sighted in, and four bolts later, we were sighted in and shooting at 20, 30, 40, back to 80 yards, and still
Holding a
grouping
good group.
2.5 inches.
Yeah, it shoots amazing. I mean, I was really sold when I first saw it. I'm always a little skeptical about new stuff and, how's it going to work and stuff. But Brian and I had actually talked earlier in the prototype model. I said, this is really good. Yeah. I like it right out the box. And he even tweaked a few little things, made the trigger really good. And now, I mean, you shoot really, like you said, you shoot great groups a long way out. And I'm not usually one to shoot 70 or 80 yards at deer with a crossbow, bow, anything. But I think you can do it with this and be pretty successful.
I think you're right. Adam, what is it that you like about the native crossbow? Anything particular?
It feels good in your hand. I mean, it just fits good. The collapsible stock allows you to be able to, if you're up in the tree stand, to be able to cock it a little easier. It's less cumbersome that way. The fact that it shoots good, it speaks for itself. But I really, really like the trigger too on it. It's got just a tiny bit of creep, so you're ready, and then it's got a real crisp trigger, which is hard to find in crossbows. That's the thing that, with crossbows in particular, you got less feet per second than a gun, so any small error that you do makes a big difference downwind, downrange. So for me, I think it's great. It's got a good trigger. It shoots well. I can't find anything I don't like about it.
Now, have you hunted with one yet?
Yeah, you know what? We had. I took my son last year. Can't say we shot a great big 180-inch buck with it, but my son and I went out. He saw a doe that came in. Yeah. We needed some meat for the table, and decided to go ahead and take one. So
any deer's a trophy.
Any deer's a good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So worked out good.
Well, good. You know, we're awful excited. Our Indiana Outdoor Adventures Pro staff is going to be out in the woods this year, and this is what we're carrying.
Well, I'm sure you guys will have some good luck and a lot of good pictures.
Hey, let's go over and shoot a little bit.
Sounds good.
Great.
Oh, just an inch low. Clearly, this is not quite on. It's close.
That's a kill shot.
Good shot. I'll take that any day.
You bet. You want to get a picture of that?
Swing that camera around and zoom in. Yeah.
Beautiful shot. Oh, beautiful. Now that's a shot.
That had dropped him.
That's a shot.
80 yards with a native crossbow. If you're thinking about joining the horizontal X-bow crossbow hunters this year in the woods, I really think you ought to take a look at native crossbows manufactured and made right here in Indiana. We'll see you next time, right here on Indiana Outdoor Adventures.